Great to have you with us. Now, Deputy Attorney General Godfrey Dame has begun an inquiry into how Mr. Woyomi spends the money, that is the 51.2 million Ghana cedis, and to uncover potential sources of income for the businessman in order to recover more than the 50 million cedis due the state. We'll be taking you through some of the details of what has been transpiring in the court. And businessman Alfred Agbeshi Woyomi has told the Supreme Court he has not been engaged in any gainful business since the state commenced his prosecution in 2011, a situation that has affected his ability to pay off the debt owed the state. Mr. Woyomi is today facing oral examination by the Attorney General as part of efforts by the state to retrieve the 51.2 million Ghana cedis paid to him. The state has in the past held the payment was wrongful, with the state trying for more than 2 years to retrieve the amount. Answering a question posed by the Deputy Attorney General, the businessman said he had been forced to rely on the goodwill of others since then while trading some shares in his company to pay off his legal fees. We are getting the latest from the courts. They will be bringing you all that is happening today during the day. Now, Embattled General Secretary of the People's National Convention, PNC, Atik Mohammed, is accusing the flag bearer of his party, Dr. Edward Mahama, of causing his own defeat in the 2016 elections. Atik also fingered the party's communications director and women organizer as being equally involved. Atik Mohammed is being accused by his party for being an ineffective general secretary and causing the party's disqualification from the election. He has since been suspended at a National Executive Committee meeting last Saturday. Now, speaking on Joy News Desk a while ago, Mohammed Atik refuted these claims.
The only person who sabotaged our campaign in the last election was Dr. Edward Mahama and people like this. Can you imagine this young man went to a constituency where a national chairman was contesting? I was campaigning for his opponent. He was campaigning for Alban Sumana Bagbin against Bernard. And there are pictorial evidence even on my phone as we speak. And such a person sits on stands before the cameras and says, oh, I was inefficient. In any case, when we were disqualified, how did we get back? Who did the work? You see, there are some things I don't want to share. Even in the 2016 elections, you need free space to work. To the extent that the secretary in the office has been told by Dr. Mahama not to give my letters that come to me. How do you expect the general secretary to work in such an environment? And to the extent that everything within the party, if the National Women's Organizer does not bless it, it will not fly. Several pieces of advice given to Dr. Edon Mahama, because the women's organizer said it shouldn't work, it did not work. Look, when we were about launching our manifesto, I presented a comprehensive program. He shut that program down because, and let me just end, these are things that I find very laughable.
Now, he calls the NEC meeting, which decided his suspension as illegal, saying he is taking steps to constitute a proper one.
This line is that I'm continuing to work as the General Secretary of the party until such a time that I decide I am tired and I no longer will do that, or we go to Congress and there's... Well, for me, I think that what has happened is important for us. It is giving us an opportunity to correct a lot of misnomers in the party. I have intentions, beyond continuing my job, to write to the Council of Elders, the legal committee of the party, and to also write through the national chairman for another NEC to be convened, so that this miscommunication and misnomers within the party will be halted, to avoid the possibility of somebody taking the party to court. We've been victims of court litigation over the over the period, and I think litigation really hasn't helped this party. So that we avoid people taking the party to ransom in future, we need to correct some of these things. And these are the things in the coming days I would wish to do.
Now, we took to some streets here in Accra to find out what people know as regards the status of the People's National Convention and got some quite interesting views to share.
PNC is a political party, and the full meaning is People's National Convention.
PNC is People's National Congress.
PNC, I know, in Ghana is a political party which stands for People's National Congress.
The People's National Convention Party. Yeah, that's what I know. It's a party in Ghana. It's a political party. Yeah. Headed by Edward Mahama, and then who again? Yeah, it's Edward Mahama.
No, all right, PNC. Not too sure about it, but I'm sure it could be this political abbreviation song, but I'm not too sure about it though. Yeah.
It's a new patriotic Congress, and it's about political issues.
PNC is a political party in Ghana. The full name of PNC is People's National Congress.
Right, let's now go back to that court hearing where the Deputy Attorney General Godfrey Dame is asking questions of the businessman Alfred Agbeshi-Woyomi. If you look on myjoyonline.com, you'll find that we've posted the questions and the responses, the questions of Godfrey Dame and the responses of Alfred Woyomi. The first question here, as you can see, is what business do you do? He responds, I'm a businessman. The question is, what kind of business? And now, lawyer Anku for Alfred Woyomi now stands up. He says he's objecting the question, arguing that kind of business is not relevant under CI 47. He adds the order of the court does not include that. Now, the judge then comes in and says, lawyer Anku should read the orders of the court, especially the third part that says he should tell whether he has means of paying that will make it necessary for him to state what sort of business he's engaged in. Now, lawyer Ankus insists it's unfair. Godfrey Dame disagrees. He's saying, how can they elicit a means of satisfying debt if they don't ask what kind of business Mr. Woyomi does? So that objection by lawyer Anku is overruled. The response given by Mr. Woyomi, because the question is overruled, is, I've been a businessman since I returned to Ghana in 1999. I've not engaged in any business since my prosecution. When were you prosecuted is the question. The response is 2011 thereabouts. So the question here is, from 1997 to 2011, what business were you engaged in? The response is, I've been operating companies. I've also consulted. What specific businesses have you been doing this? Because, of course, the kind of business, as Mr. Dame has relayed, will be necessary for us to know if you'll be able to pay the 51.2 million Ghana cedis. The response is, my business has been in the sourcing of funds for projects which are mostly owned by government. I'm one of the directors of the companies that introduced Red Bull into Ghana. The state is here to take money. That is erroneous. I have agreed to a payments plan. Those are the words of Mr. Woyomi. He says the state is here to take money, and that is erroneous. He has already agreed to a payment plan. Now, listeners will recall that is what he referred to as financial engineering. That is sourcing funds for businesses. So the judge here intervenes and tells the deputy AG to take note. The question here is, before 1999, which businesses were you engaged in? The response is, I cannot answer that question because it has no relevance. Dame is up now. He's arguing it's relevant. Now, the sole judge is saying, Justice Benning warns that if it emerges that he had knowledge and could answer the question, he will face the consequences. That is, if it's determined that Alfred Woyomi had knowledge of the answer and was able to respond, he would face the consequences. So the response to that is, my lord, I had diplomatic engagements for which reason I cannot disclose. There is so much that is ongoing on the court at the moment. As you can see, if you log on to myjoyonline.com, we have live updates of what is happening there in the court premises. Very, very fascinating stuff. Today, Godfrey Dame would be making an attempt to elicit the responses that will enable governments to retrieve the 51.2 million Ghana cedis, which Mr. Woyomi has owed the state for some 6 to 7 years. Now, moving on, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Madame Charlotte Osei, has described as illegal the criminal and a breach of the policies of the Commission and the laws of Ghana, the signing of over 40 million Ghana cedis worth of contracts by Deputy Chairperson Ahmed Sule without her knowledge and authorization. The said contract, according to Madame Osei, was signed between July and September 2015. Now, she said she will submit the supporting documents to the relevant investigative agencies for their further action. This is contained in her 17-page response on the claims, particularly on claims 28 and 29 of the allegations made against her by the concerned staff of the Commission who are seeking her impeachment.
In her response to claim 27, which indicated that, quote, Mrs. Charlotte Say unilaterally awarded a contract of about $25,000 to a South African company, Quasar Limited, to change and redevelop the Commission's logo under the guise of rebranding without going to tender, contrary to the Public Procurement Act. Madam Osei says, quote, "The decision to prepare a strategic plan and rebrand the Commission was a decision of the full Commission at a meeting. Quasar was selected out of 3 companies and contracted by the UNDP to assist the Commission complete its strategic plan and rebranding. The UNDP was very happy with the services of Quasar, and the UNDP has not submitted any complaints of any breaches in the award or the contract process. Indeed, representatives of Quasar had several meetings and workshops with senior staff and members of the Commission. It is therefore unclear the basis for the complaints that the chairperson unilaterally engaged the services of Quasar. In addition, Quasar was not paid $25,000. Quasar was paid about 23,470 Ghana cedis as supported by the documents attached. It would be most helpful if the petitioners would get basic facts right." End quote. In her 17-page response, she adds further particulars. Quote, "It is worth pointing out that while the chairperson is persistently accused of arrogance and taking unilateral decisions, there is ample evidence of extreme arrogance, ineptitude and blatant breaches of the law by the deputy chairpersons. A few examples will suffice here. 1. The deputy chairperson in charge of corporate services has signed contracts worth over 40 million Ghana cedis without the knowledge and authorization of the chairperson between July to September 2015. Payments were also made on these contracts in excess of her approval limits and again without the knowledge and authorization of the chairperson. This is illegal, criminal and a breach of the policies of the Commission and the laws of Ghana. The supporting document would be submitted to the relevant investigative agencies for their further action. 2. In June 2017, the annual leave of the Deputy Chairperson Operations was approved by the Deputy Chairperson in charge of corporate services without recourse to the Chairperson and signed on behalf of the Chairperson by Deputy Chairperson in charge of corporate services while she herself was on leave. This is clearly symptomatic of poor knowledge of corporate governance and managerial ineptitude. Indeed, the Deputy Chairperson in charge of corporate services has arrogated to herself the powers of the Chairperson, convening Commission meetings and taking other ultra-virus decisions in clear breach of the law. End quote.
Now, former aide of the late President Mills, Koku Anyidoho, says himself and a group of other NDC executives have been working to keep the memories and the legacies of Professor Mills alive. He spoke to Beatrice Edu during the 5th anniversary celebration of the late Professor Mills at Asomdwe Park in Accra.
The party continues to revere and remember President Mills, and we are in link with the family. Of course, his brother did us the honors by winning back the KEEA seat for us. And so to that extent, yes, the party is still very much in sync with the family, yes.
What about moving on? Is there anything like a memorial or a foundation for the former president? Since, I mean, you speak so good of him, and not just you alone, other executives of the party. Yes,
there's the Atamils Institute. I'm happy to be the founder and the CEO of it. A few of us have come together, and we think that we must continue to keep the memory of Professor Mills very much alive. It's a strong legacy. The brand is a solid brand, and we dare not allow the brand to go waste. So yes, there's the institute. In fact, this event has been organized under the auspices of the institute.
When was it founded?
It was founded early this year, and so this event is under the auspices of the Tamils Institute. A few of us, a few friends, managed to get this place sorted out. We intend to do everything to keep the memory of Prof alive. He was a good man. I mean, teacher, statesman, politician, sportsman, a human being par excellence, very good at heart. He mentored, he tutored, and I salute him.
And what is the focus of this institute?
Well, basically to keep Professor Mills in perspective in terms of his academic works and also politics, because basically I'm a politician, so more of his politics, trying to redefine and reshape the political stratosphere, moving away from the politics of vindictiveness to the politics of inclusion and association, wanting us to be in one Ghana where we all have a common sense of purpose. Yes, let the politics be there, but let not the politics divide us. And I think that's what he sought to do. And I think he achieved it by a large measure before he left.
Now,
I'm not considering it, but people have come to me and I told them I'm thinking about it. Those are the words of the former Vice President Kwesi Amissah-Arthur on whether or not he's contesting the flag bearership position of the opposition NDC come 2020. Now, there have been reports that he will contest, and in an exclusive interview during the 5th anniversary of the passing of the late President John Mills, the former Vice President said he does not believe he's yet prepared for that job. Now, he started by talking about how he has coped 5 years on. He spoke to Beatrice Edu.
There are many people who are speculating about this. It's not time. We are trying to make our party into a coherent, cohesive organization. That's all we are interested in. As for leadership, I don't know if there are any serious people who are politicking at this time, because I don't think it's time enough.
But are you considering it?
I'm not considering it, but the people have come to me. And I said that I'm thinking about it. Yeah. You have to be very committed to be able to say that I'm ready to take all that. It takes a lot of work. I saw what Prof. Mills did. I saw him travel around this country, saw him meet people, I saw him prepare. We have to prepare a message. You have to prepare a program. You can't just want to be president because you want to be president. You want to be president because we want to deliver something to the country. Now, so I'm not there yet.
Okay, you're giving me two answers. You're not considering it.
I'm saying that to be able to do that,
yeah,
one has to prepare a program.
Yes, but I just quoted you there. You said you're not considering it, but people have come to you and you've told them you're thinking about it. Yeah. So which of them should we take? That you're thinking about it and there's a possibility that 2020 we should see you?
I like the way you ask your questions. No, I'm not, as of now, I'm not in the race. But nobody knows what will happen in a year's time.
Decide to consider in the near future, because now you're giving me a 50-50 answer. Should you decide, what will be your focus?
Should I decide? Yeah, it's a hypothetical question. I'm saying to you that everybody who offers himself for national office, herself for national office, should come with some experience. It is what, and should be able, like Prof. Mills, to call on people who have other skills that you don't have and be able to put a team together. He was when I saw him in Legon, he was a young lecturer. He was responsible for the football amalgamated clubs in Legon, and so he believed in teamwork. I think that teamwork is very important in this thing. So you have to be able to bring a skill there, but you also be able to call on other people who have skills that you don't have to be able to. And that's the message for people who are offering themselves for national leadership.
Including you?
Including me, and including you also.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, nursing mothers in Ghana will have to wait a few more days to have their babies immunized against polio following a 2-month shortage of vaccines in the country. Most health facilities in the country have run short of the vaccine, which is used to protect children against one of the world's most deadly diseases. Joy News' Matilda Wemega has more in the following report.
I'm looking at what my child is going to go through with this polio, people holding stick and all that. I don't want to blame my grandmother that it's witchcraft that has gotten my child. So like, in a way it is. So that is my most fear, that my ward may not work well.
These are the fears of Sewa, a nursing mother for her 11-week-old baby, who for the second time has missed his polio immunization. Sewa represents a large number of nursing mothers in Ghana who, for more than 8 weeks, have not been able to get polio vaccines for their babies.
This is my third child. It's very worrying because from the 3rd month, kids start developing well. Their brains, their neck gets into position, their arms and all that. So the bones and everything too will start working from the leg part. They need to be, the kid needs to have immunization for polio so that he will be relieved from that polio infection and all that. I don't want my ward to go through that. When we went for the weighing and they told me the first time that they were going to have it, I was so certain that definitely they were going to have it. But till now, they're not having. I'm sure it's all over. Your ward can't walk and have to hold a stick, you a mother, and you know there are means for you to get him to walk at an early stage, and you avoided that means for providing the child the ability to walk, then I don't see you as a mother.
Poliomyelitis is a highly infectious disease caused by a virus and mainly affects children under 5 years of age. It invades the nervous system and can cause total paralysis. The polio vaccines are usually administered to newborn babies to fight this deadly childhood disease. Ghana's inability to pay for last 3 years' supplies, procured from the United Nations Fund, UNICEF, the international body that procures the vaccine, necessitated the shortage, which is expected to affect the health of under 5 years children if it lingers. Oxygen Wula is the head of Disease Control and Prevention Unit of Accra Metro Health Directorate.
Now we don't have the polio vaccine available. So any guardian or parents or mother who went to vaccination center, they will not be served with polio vaccine. They should not be worried. Very soon, we will have some in the country and they will be vaccinated accordingly.
Okay.
As it stands now, we can't talk much about it because the vaccines are not available.
But the absence of these vaccines, do they pose any threats to the health of the baby?
Not exactly, because we are almost vaccinating the children and there's a herd immunity in the system for now. Or it may take a longer time before we will start to see such deficiencies, or people will start complaining, or there will be health-related issue attached to it. But as it stands now, we are in a good state for now, although we don't have the vaccines. But we pray that as the national said they will be bringing it by the end of the month, they should make it available for the children to be protected against poliomyelitis. It's finished. The national doesn't have it, so there's no way we can get it within Ghana.
Even when I use protocol?
No, even if with protocol or without protocol, they are not available. Especially, I will only talk for Accra Metro. I don't know of other regions. For Accra Metropolitan Health Directorate, we don't have polio vaccine.
Ghana has made giant strides in the fight against childhood killer diseases, especially polio, which kills or cripples children for life. Since the outbreak of polio in 2008, no case of polio has been recorded in Ghana as of 2015, but stakeholders fear that the shortage could spell doom for the country and erode gains made over the period if the situation is not immediately addressed. For Joy News, Matilda Pumagam, Accra.
Now, meanwhile, the Ghana Health Service is assuring mothers that the vaccines will be in the country in the next few days. Director General of the GHS, Dr. Anthony Nsiasari, says government has already made payment of $3.4 million to UNICEF.
We don't have the polio vaccine available. So any guardian or parents or mother who went to vaccination center, they will not be served with polio vaccine. They should not be worried. Very soon, we will have some in the country and they will be vaccinated accordingly.
Okay.
As it stands now, we can't talk much about it because the vaccines are not available.
But the absence of these vaccines, do they pose any threats to the health of the baby?
Not exactly, because we are almost vaccinating the children and there's a herd immunity in the system for now. Or if it may be it may take a longer time before we will start to see such deficiencies, or people will start complaining, or there will be health-related issue attached to it. But as it stands now, we are in a good state for now, although we don't have the vaccines. But we pray that, as the national said, they will be bringing it by the end of the month. They should make it available for the children to be protected against poliomyelitis.
Now, in today's Joy News agenda, Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin visited Akwasrim in the Adansi North District of the Ashanti region, where children have abandoned schooling due to poor infrastructure. He reports the kindergarten section of the local Roman Catholic primary school is in a poor state, with the attendant negative impact on teaching and learning.
As the structure is uncompleted, when teaching is on process, the children look around. They don't listen to us. Anything passing by, they will follow them so that they can play. And as we are teaching, the other side also, when they are singing, the children also sing. So teaching is not effective here.
One day I was teaching. Whilst our classroom is not fenced, and there is an aeroplane going somewhere, they all get out and look to that aeroplane. When the time they get back, then I've even lost what I'm teaching, or they have misplaced everything. They have I have to reorganize them, let everybody to sit down, and before we restart the classes again. So I get bored.
It is a new day here in Ashanti region, but it is not new for these peoples here. Studying under this structure has not been the best of times for them. The weather appears unfavorable as it becomes cloudy. There is only one option available to pupils: pick up their bags and run home.
Yeah, we just dismiss them to go home because we cannot keep them here. And also, when it rains, the children, for some of them, shiver. They even vomit. So it always gives us problems. We have been sweeping their vomits. It's not our duty to do that. Our duty is to teach them, for them to get something into their minds. But
stray animals and even snakes and other dangerous reptiles evade the open class every now and then.
Snakes have been coming here, and the goats and sheep, when the children are eating, they also come here to eat. And the fowls also come here. So we are here with those animals.
This has been the situation for the past 3 years. For the pupils, this is just but a playing ground. The sad reality is that most of the pupils have abandoned the school. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reporting.
It's now time for business, but stay tuned because Emmanuel Abuaji will be telling you what government is saying about why our debt stock has risen from 9 billion cedis to 137 billion cedis in 2 months. That's in business. Now, 2 people have died and 2 people have been hospitalized in critical condition at Konongo Patrensa in the Ashanti region, the Asante Ache municipality, to be precise, as a result of a mining pit collapse. Our man on the ground is Erastus Asari Donko. He joins us on the line. Erastus, how did this come about?
Well, we do understand that yesterday the pit, which is very close to the town, is on a hill. It's beneath the hill that they've dug deep into, and they are doing illegal mining in there. The mining company here is Owere Mine. They own this concession. So I understand they brought in military personnel to drive them away around 10 p.m. But many of them came back around 12 p.m. using torchlights to dig. And so if you look at the mine itself, the holes have been dug deep, meandering into the hill, and it's so disorganized that the loose end on top came down heavily on the miners. I have been speaking with some of them. They are saying that 4 people were brought out, 2 were dead. They sent the others on the back of a tricycle to the hospital. This has been confirmed by the police. So now 2 dead, 2 seriously injured, and they are receiving treatment at one of the hospitals close to Konongo. So currently, as we speak, the police say they cannot confirm whether there are no persons beneath the pit as we speak. So they are going to bring an excavator to dig and find out whether there are survivors or there are bodies trapped in there. And even the miners themselves cannot tell us whether they all came out or there are people still trapped in there.
Right, now have the authorities, I mean the municipal authorities and the police, been acting on this matter?
Well, the police have been here since dawn. They've cordoned the place off, and there are currently some armed police there watching over to ensure nobody gets in there. Because, mind you, a number of the illegal miners have gathered here. They say that the place is rich in gold. Even any rock or sand that comes in from that pit is gold. And so they are waiting patiently for the authorities to go away so they can go back to dig. Very interesting indeed. And so the police have cordoned the place up. They are not allowing anybody in until the excavator arrives.
Right, thank you very much, Erastus Asari Donko. This is just coming in from the Asante-Ache municipality in the Ashanti region. 2 dead, 2 hospitalized. Stay tuned to Joy News. We'll bring you the latest on that issue. Now, there is also another issue we are following. I told you about earlier, the oral examination of Mr. Alfred Agbeshi Woyome. The Deputy Attorney General, Godfrey Dame, is doing that. And we have the latest updates so far. Let me take you through a few of those. Now, here, lawyer Anku, that's the lawyer for Mr. Woyome, is responding to a request made by the judge. The judge is saying, he says he doesn't own a house, referring to Mr. Woyome. The state thinks he does. In such situations, the normal rules of evidence will have to be followed. Is it necessary for the court to make an order? That's what I want you to look at. A lot of things come up during oral examination. The judge there speaking, lawyer Anku, replies, they could have done that if they were minded. So basically, lawyer Anku is saying that if the state really wanted to investigate if Alfred Woyome had a house, they would have investigated already. So you can log on to myjoyonline.com for the latest in all news updates, including that developing story with the oral examination of Alfred Agbeshi Woyome. Of course, we'll have the latest on that in our later bulletins during the day. Many thanks for joining us. I'm Daniel Daze. This has been Joy News Today. Have a great day.